Let's go on with story number 5. Eliezer Melendez. We're going to go to you with story number 5. I'm going to read you the headline. I'm going to read you the first couple graphs, and I want you to comment. This is coming out of the Key Biscayne Independent. And here we go with the headline. Bad condo boards, beware. Representative Lopez has your number. And before I read the first couple graphs, Eliezer, let me just sort of update the audience. What we're seeing right now is because insurance prices have spiked because of the necessity to make sure that buildings are safe after the collapse, the disaster of the Champlain Towers South and Surfside on the Barrier Island in Miami-Dade County. We've seen insurance companies and we've seen the legislature take steps to try to make sure that people living in these older condominium buildings, as well as new ones, that the buildings aren't going to collapse on them. We're not going to see another 100 people die, another $1 billion settlement paid out to all the families as a result of that. So because of the rising cost of insurance and the necessity to create reserves and actually do the work that's mandated rather than simply defer it to the future, now we're seeing tensions really rise in a lot of these associations. Because as John Gruce likes to say, a lot of these condo associations, they're basically underfunded. In order to go ahead and do everything that the state law now requires, and insurance companies now require, you got to dig in your pocket. And when you're digging in your pocket, you start to question who's actually running it, wherein before nobody really cared. So that's kind of the context, Eliezer. So again, headline, bad condo boards, beware. Representative Lopez has your number. And first couple graphs, and then I want you to comment, Eliezer. State Representative Vicky Lopez made it clear Wednesday, condominium boards who are corrupt, who are not financially transparent, who do not respond to their residents are very much in our crosshair this next legislative session. And here is a quote from her. She says, some condo boards have actually lost sight of the fact that they are not an entity upon themselves, separate and apart from the condo owners. Eliezer, I don't know if you live in a condo. I don't know if you don't live in a condo, but I do know that developers and condo associations are up against residents and buyers. Real estate drives the Florida economy. We don't have state income taxes. Our real estate is our primary generator of revenue, fills the coffers of the cities, of the counties, of the school boards, of the state. What is the chance that we can actually see some transparency brought to the condo association? Is this legislator, is she going to be able to work it through the system? Or do you think there's going to be just way too much pushback from the developer types who don't want that information out there? Because if the information's out there, people are going to be able to assess, just they can't with a publicly traded company, what is a theoretically good investment and what's a bad investment based on the financials?
I think she'll be able to do something. The reality is that when we started after Champlain Towers and the disaster there that killed so many people overnight, in their beds in South Florida here, we had a focus first on changing the rules about what condos can do in terms of reserves, as well as what they can do in terms of engineering reports and other things that have to do with construction. That was probably about 25 years overdue. And the reality is that was significant for a lot of these condos, especially the ones that are more humble, right? The ones that are more middle class, where you might have a situation where there's some kind of catastrophic fault that is going to require $100,000 special assessment from its unit that they can't do, right? So the first changes that they did were all about that. What they're finding now is that they can't really implement that, and the law is only going to be as good as those condo boards are honest. And you can write all the laws in the books, but if the condo boards are corrupt, then you're going to still have situations where condos are not implemented. The vast majority of condo board members are not corrupt. They have other faults, but they generally not corrupt. But you do have situation where there are some condo boards that have been taken over by corrupt people. And generally, they'll start off as corrupt, but they do it for many years, and they're like, I'm putting all this work into the community. Maybe we just did the remodeling of the common area. Maybe I should tell the contractor to remodel my bathroom too with the same tile that was left over from the project. Or you know what? I have a cousin that just signed from Cuba. We need some work. Why shouldn't I recommend him to the management company to pick him up for the landscaping and so on and so forth? And then you just have people straight up, putting their hand in the kitty, taking cash bribes. So that's more what we're going to see in this session. The focus is going to move away a little bit from the structural and the financial requirements to just honing down on people that are corrupt and are being protected by the system, right? Actually, this is a project that with one of my clients in Miami-Dade Bar Association, we've been working on developing a program that could provide some services in the community, law students, as well as pro bono attorneys to help with this. and we'll see if this is something that the legislature funds us and we can move forward, because there's definitely a need.
Great insight. Mr. Fackler, I want to ask you a question, but let me just clarify for the audience, just in case they don't know what an HOA is. It's a homeowners association. It's effectively, it applies towards people who own single-family houses and townhouses within a community, just like a condo association would apply for the most part in South Florida to people living vertical in a building. Mr. Fackler, we've been going to you week after week after week about condo associations. We talked about the former condo board president who tried to blow up the vehicle of one of the residents in his community. We talked about the former condo board president who got arrested in greater downtown Miami at the Balloon condominium for basically allegedly stealing money. There's a lot of stuff going on. We see the state legislator stepping up and addressing it. What do you put the chances at of something actually getting done in the next session, given the strength and the political activism financially?
Well, at least
developers?
there's some sort of initiative. Let's be honest, this has been going on for decades. I mean, we've had, corrupt condos, corrupt HOAs. We've had financial threats. Now we're seeing, as we've reported, a lot of physical threats. People are being intimidated, particularly senior citizens. So, I'm glad to see that, that there's an initiative now to fight this to a certain degree. But like you say, a lot of this is embedded in the culture, in the real estate culture down here. I'm not sure about other states, but certainly in South Florida.
Why can't they apply the sunshine laws to HOA financial statements? I mean, I think that would go a long way to putting some sunshine on some of these shenanigans, because as it is right now, only the owners would have access to these financial documents. Even as a prospective buyer, I think you have like a few days to inspect the financial records. It's only after you sign a contract. I think it would go a long way to have these financial statements out in the open, because then everybody can examine them and decide for themselves whether the HOA is actually acting in the best interest of the residents and is managing the finances of the HOA correctly. As it is now, you have no idea. It's a black box. And I think if you had the same kind of credit rating service that would examine HOA finances, you could see like who the A buildings are and who the B buildings are and who the C's and D's are, of HOAs. And you could make a decision to buy or not buy based on whether that association is well managed or not. I think that would be a terrific thing for the legislature to address.
So funny story, John. Exactly what you're describing was a lobbying priority for the Florida Association of Realtors 3 years ago, 3 legislative sessions ago. What happened was, while they were also pushing that, they were also pushing a statewide amendment to the Constitution dealing with affordable housing that the majority hated. So because they were doing that and pushing that amendment on affordable housing, the majority basically told them, as long as you're pushing that, we're not moving any of your other priorities forward. So what you're talking about was actually something that was presented, but for political reasons, essentially for payback, it was never considered.
Wow. Fascinating. And I can tell you personally, going back to the Great Recession, when we were playing the distress market on the buy side perspective, I had access to a lot of lenders, and the lenders don't really care about the mortgages they're going to sell to Fannie Mae. Anybody who doesn't know how it works, basically, if you as a lender put money on the street, you finance the sale of a property, as long as it fits certain guidelines, you, the lender, you're able to take that mortgage and sell it. You sell it to Fannie Mae, you make your fee on the way in, you make your money, and you dump it. You don't really care. Now, what the lenders do care about is when they're portfolioing the loan. So if the loan is over what the Fannie Mae requirement is, and it's a cap, a certain amount, those are the ones that the banks are willing to pay generously for to be able to get that insight. So I have started creating a company to go ahead and rate these associations based on financial feasibility. And one of the issues we ran into in doing it is interfering with commerce, where the association could sue you, basically saying you are killing the price of our condo association because you came out with a number that ultimately could impact resale values, and then they'd have an ability to turn around and sue you. So I looked at it, I examined it, we collect some information, we use it internally, we don't release it publicly, but people are out there doing it. But I will tell you, Eliezer, if something gets through the legislature to go ahead and rate these associations, trust me, we'll be at the front of the list.